What's up, guys? It's Dave.
Oh, your humour is rank, Buchanan.
It's Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from Arizona, Doom Punishers, GOYA. The band's new album, In the Dawn of November, will be released on June 13th via Blues Funeral Recordings.
You laughing?
June 13th.
Was there something humorous about June 13th, Dave?
Just might be a slightly busy day for releases, that's all.
I think if you are someone that's like, you know what, I'm going to buy every album that comes out on a Friday, then June the 13th is going to bankrupt you.
Yes, yeah, it is. Wowzers.
There are deep fucking pockets.
Vinyl sales on the 13th of June will be monumental. Okay, so what do we know? Formed in 2011 by guitarist and vocalist Jeffrey Owens, GOYA's 2012 demo showcased their early potential, but it was their debut full-length 777 that announced the fearsome arrival into the Doom underground. Continuing to evolve, GOYA released Obelisk in 2015, a concept album that refined their blend of psychedelic doom. They followed this up with their magnum opus, 2017's Harvester of Bong Loads, another concept album that leaned as heavily as ever into the fuzz-laden, riff-driven aesthetic and further cemented their legacy of unrelenting doom and immersive sonic landscapes. In the summer of 2024, GOYA returned to the road for a month-long US tour after taking a few years to write their fourth album, In the Dawn of November. GOYA entered Soundhouse Studios in Seattle in the fall with legendary producer Jack Endino, who has worked with High on Fire, Year of the Cobra and Soundgarden, to lay down a monolithic work of graveyard grooves and bleak reflections to herald their towering return with their most accomplished and unwaveringly bone-crushing record to date, leading the trio to ink a deal with revered Albuquerque-based label Blues Funeral Recordings. The album was fully engineered, recorded, mixed and mastered by Jack Endino. Okay, so I am really surprised that we haven't spoke about or covered this band before. Like how?
Yeah, like so it fits the time frame of us reviewing albums. It also fits the genre that we were primarily covering. Me and you specifically doing a lot of legwork on of that time period. So I'm gonna put on the band.
All right.
You should have had better PR. Why not? Let's not blame us, Dave, because we've got a platform right now and microphones. So
well, this is true. Somehow they have flown under our radar. But that is not the case anymore, because we're now back to check out their new album, which didn't realise there'd been such a gap between the last album and this one. 2017 was their last album.
If only something had happened in the intervening years, which closed the world down for a long period of time. Don't think that's been mentioned in a PR statement.
It hasn't actually. That's this
year actually. What 5 years removed, Dave. I kind of hope at this point we can stop saying the C word and not the one that Scots like to use for everything.
So yeah, new band for us both. What did you think of GOYA?
So this is a tale of two halves, Dave.
Tale of two halves.
When it comes to my review here, there's a lot that I really like about this album, right? One, it sits, you mentioned it before, it sits comfortably in the wheelhouse genre that I love, that kind of doomy, sludgy, big, rocky, bluesy, thunderous sound where like this is not an album musically which will challenge you as a musician. This is a comfort, this is the warm blanket, it's the hot water bottle in your bed. Mm-hmm. Right, like you slip into this it's the warm bath that you need with a wee glass of wine, candles around you. It's a very easy album to get into, right? Yeah. Because it's not gonna like throw like a jazz lick at minute 53. It's not gonna do that, right? The band are 100% comfortable with their sound, and as a result, that's what this album is. There really isn't in the way of much. In the way of any sort of side quest on this one here, if you know what I mean. It kind of follows a path, and that path is big, rocky, bluesy, sludgy, doomy tones. Right? It's also underpinned with like a really I love the lyrics on this album. I really, really do. They're on the nose without sounding like cringe. If you know what I mean? Like they're all subject matter that you would expect from a band in this genre, but they're not at any point where you're like, oh no. It's like when you hear like bands try to do the new metal thing at the moment, but the bands are all like 20 years old. Everyone in the band, they're like they're using new metal words from like the 90s. And you're like, no, go away, lie down. Like, this one here, it fits it, from a cadence point of view. Other thing I love about this, production. The production, 100% just is a big old fucking elephant cock. Weighty.
Yeah.
Weighty and hard to take.
Not comfortable.
Not comfortable. I mean, like, and it's like not sacrificing any of the clarity of the guitar work.
Yeah.
And even that kind of fuzziness that they have, it kind of reminded me at times of Church of Misery. That fuzz that kind of permeates the sound, but you can still make it everything that everyone's doing, which is a really, really cool thing to have. So it's not lazily put together. Vocally, now we were speaking about this and we're talking about this just off here. This one was like acid in the brain for me, in that the vocalist reminded, there was something in his tone that reminded me of another vocalist, and generally I'm really good at this, and I'm like that, oh, it's that vocalist, it's this album, it's that line from that song 15 years ago. All I knew was the melody, and I struggled, and I don't sleep very well at the best of times.
Not at all now.
This did not help. If I get 3 a.m. going like that. What is
right?
Have checked out the song, and there is a similarity. I don't know how much they sound alike, but it is alike, but it's not like, oh, he is him. And how about this for a deep cut? There is a new metal band who had 2 albums way back in the day called Dust to Dust that I fucking loved. Right, I love that debut album from Dust to Dust. It's self-titled, absolutely brilliant. If you can get it, I don't know if it's available anyway. I have a copy, but if you can get it, that's what the vocalist sounds like. Genre couldn't be any more different.
Yeah.
Although, actually, weirdly, lyrically, kind of aligns a little bit. Like there's a bit of crossover there in the styles. Guy can perform his craft. He has a tone, he has a range, and we're going to come to that. But he has a tone and a range which very much suits the music, and as a result, he is very comfortable at giving you that. I think the album has a couple of really big standout tracks for me, which reminded me, like a track like Cemetery Blues, for example, reminded me a little bit of Orange Goblin, but like the American version of Orange Goblin.
Yeah.
In the Dawn of November, which is the opening track, and also the title fucking song. Like, it's a great, and what, because of the genre, tracks run long, right? So you distract yourself for that. Like, it opens with an 8.5-minute song, just like swinging its cock. Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? Either way, here we go. But like, as kind of groove laden as that is, like by the time you get to like the midway point where they very cleverly puts track 3 and 4, which are shorter tracks, in to break it up, you get Depressive Episode, which has like a pace switch. It's a bit quicker, and then it like hits you with Sick of Your Shit, which is actually a pace slower. I think it's slower than anything that's come before. So like the juxtaposition of that, really fucking cool. Like that quite a bit. I think the album then goes Big or Go Home. You get I Want to Be Dead, which is the penultimate track, which is it's like fucking 12.5 minutes long, and it's like the giant from the artwork getting up off the toilet after like doom scrolling for 20 minutes. Like, oh, legs aren't quite working. It's a big lumbering like beastie of a track. And then comes The Fall, which is the closing track. I can do this because there's only 6 tracks here. Is a kind of instrumental closer. It isn't really a song, it's more a mood piece to close things out. Positives I've touched on. Love the production. I think they managed to get a really good balance of the fuzz with the actual effects. Love the vocalist tone. I think his lyrical content's really, really good. Here comes some of the negatives. I found the album long. I think, and this is genre, why we speak about this all the time. The genre it sits in, tracks tend to run a bit long and you can lumber a point. I found at times some tracks did go on a bit longer than I would have had them.
Right.
Once again, speaking as me, is that kind of too much of a good thing, so to speak, kind of lessens over it. I also kind of, as much as I love the vocals, it does sit within a range, and that range has a tendency to repeat on other tracks, so much so that choruses on other songs, you literally could cut and paste them into previous songs and they would 100% fit without affecting the tracks. That meant that choruses lacked the hook that I'd had before, although I did really enjoy the lyrics, and you know, the style is very audible, very clear. You can totally know what he's singing about. So that kind of lessened it a little bit for me. So overall, I think strong album, thoroughly enjoyed it. It's the sort of thing I can shove on whilst doing other things in my headphones. I don't have to pay too much attention to it, which feels like a slight, but trust me, like when I am a man, I do not multitask. If I'm trying to do something and there's something complicated playing in my ears, I can't do both. This one, like 100% goes in all the way through, and I can do something else while doing it. It's great. It's great for background work and stuff like that sort of stuff. Negatives, like I say, there are times when he makes a vocal choice where all he would have to do is go 1 or 2 notes up, which is definitely within his range, which would make things more memorable. Well, I was finding myself almost singing counter melodies to some of the stuff he was doing, going like that. That note, you can do that note and it would make it better. Yeah. And that's me being unfairly critical. I'm not in their band, so I don't have a place to say that. But as a listener, I felt myself gravitating towards that. Yeah. So I'm not even going to say it was a frustrating listen, because I think it ticks the brief for what they're trying to do. I just think they could be a little bit more daring. And when I say daring, I don't mean length of songs. I think they could be more daring with trying to change a little bit of how they approach writing songs, which would make some of the stuff stand a bit more. There are a good handful of bands that I think like spring to mind straight away when I think about GOYA's sound, who are not that dissimilar. And in that genre, it's the stuff that you sometimes don't do, or the stuff that you add on that other bands aren't doing, that actually make you stand out more against that backdrop. So that was my
interesting
view.
Okay,
what about you, Dave?
We are on kind of similar paths here.
All right, I thought you were about to shoot me down, say shut up and sit down. You
no, there's definitely some of your criticisms that I'm on board with. I did acquaint myself with some of the older releases before checking this out, and I knew.
Is it much different?
But I kind of knew, like when I listened to those previous albums, I kind of knew from listening to those that I was going to enjoy this. Like,
right, got you. Go.
I think like if you've heard the previous album, Harvester of Bong Loads, which was from 2017, if you think you're going to get like a revised version of that album here, you're mistaken, because it's definitely not. This definitely feels like a new and improved GOYA. This album for me showed a band that is more focused. You can hear there's more experience there and more determined. They have kind of proficiently kind of planned out the best way to kind of deliver their new updated sound and new kind of songwriting skills on this album. And every track had, something about it that was a little bit kind of different. So like unlike a lot of Doom albums, you sometimes get lost in the same repetitive rhythm or or idea. And this album doesn't fall into that trap. These tracks all flow really well into one another. But it never feels like the album is turned into one long song. You know where you are at all times. And that was really after one listen to this album, I could hear all the different kind of movements of this release. It's also not one that I was just like, I listened to it once and I was like, oh yeah, like I don't really need to go back to that. It was one that I did feel like I was quite keen to go back and have multiple listens of. It's a very easy listen.
Super easy to listen.
And yeah, they give you like a little bit of everything. All of those elements they've touched on over their career are here, but they sound bigger and better on this release. And that's like very apparent from track 1, the title track. It's got the kind of classic opening strategy of here comes like the thunder, like the fucking
here comes the riff.
Yeah, big ass doom riffs, like colossal groove, really like a nice killer melody. And the melody like on this album is very confident. If you listen to the melodies between the previous album, this one, there's a big change that like you can hear the confidence coming through on this release. The clean vocals on the previous album were okay. They were a little bit, I felt they were a little bit saturated and a kind of like chorus kind of effect on them to give it almost like a kind of psychedelic feel. But on this, there's that's gone. Like there's no kind of like effect on them. And the choice of melody on that first track is killer. Like what a hook. The harmonies on the track also just kind of elevate it to that next level. They then double down on that with Cemetery Blues on track 2, which could be possibly the most vocally memorable track on like.
Oh, you're walking about this. I got the Cemetery Blues.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was singing that for like a good couple of days afterwards. And you know, it might be down to the fact that it's 7.5 minutes, so you get plenty of time to become familiar with it. But I really enjoyed it. Like it's bluesy, as the title would suggest, but it's still got this huge kind of weight to it. And the album continues then to kind of switch things up, subtly. That's not huge changes, but you can hear little like tempo changes on like Depressive Episode. In the middle of the album, you get something almost kind of like gothic-y, and there's a little touch of like almost kind of post-punk kind of like tempo and lead work on there as well. But then Sick of Your Shit comes in with this kind of almost kind of doomy but grungy kind of tone, like if like Conan and Mantar made a band. It's really good again, and chorus is catchy as well. Shows like another little kind of side to the band sound. And I love that, even though they brought in that little kind of grungy element, they don't just abandon it after that track. You get a bit of it on I Wanna Be Dead as well. A little bit in the vocal, actually, a little kind of grungy character, but it brings a more like cosmic kind of sludge in the riffs department, and also some synths as well. You get these kind of gothic keys in the background, just like adds a bit of a darker mood to the track. Also really fits with the more kind of cosmic stylings of the riffs. Really cool breakdown in the middle, where they kind of up the heaviness. And then if you're thinking, yeah, this track's probably peaked, then hold on a minute. Bass solo, ladies and gents.
A lot of bass talk tonight.
12.5 minutes of awesome. Not the bass solo. The bass solo's not 12.5 minutes. I mean, the song is 12.5 minets.
You set it up to make like there's a bass player out there going, finally.
Yeah, can you imagine? Just like the bassist called CJ. CJ, just want to pop like a wee solo in this bit of the track. That'd be great. 12 minutes later, and he's just like fucking. As an album, I did enjoy it. Is it perfect?
Coming here, this is like, where's the butt gonna drop? You're skirting around it. I was up front. I said at the start here when my review kicked off, I was like, listen.
Couple of things.
There's a couple of so here we go. Dave's couple of things.
I do agree with you on the vocal melodies. The album starts off super strong. Like those first 2 tracks, the melodies are fucking killer. And to be fair, the melodies are also killer throughout the rest of the album, but they do become slightly repetitive. And some of the melodic choices are a little similar.
Yes.
And that does detract from the kind of concentration of the melody, or potency of the melody as the album goes on, because you've had those kind of 2 big ones to begin with. My other small gripe is, I'm going to disagree with one thing you said. I think that the length of the album is a little short, right?
Oh, what?
I think as Doom albums go, 40 minutes is pretty lean. Like, maybe I'm used to like albums with a bit more.
I just want to preface this by saying, like, my comments are that, like, I think justify my points. I think some of the tracks are too long.
Uh-huh.
Right. I don't know if I said the album was too long.
I thought you said it was too long. All right,
No,
okay.
some of the tracks are too long.
Yeah.
And because the vocals are very samey, that doesn't make anything stand out on those tracks.
Right.
Had there another one or two songs in there, you know, I would have liked them because
Yeah.
it was a comfortable listen. But I don't think one or two songs necessarily makes the album better.
Okay.
I think if anything, my issue with the vocal would become more prominent because, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like as a album length, I didn't have an issue with that at all.
Yep.
My issue was the end of the album felt a little bit unfinished for me. So I was after that previous track with the big bass solo and stuff. I was
Which is 12 and a half minutes long.
Yeah. I was primed for one more track to bring this album to a kind of crushing kind of finish. And they went in the kind of opposite direction with Comes With the Fall, the last track, which is a kind of atmospheric, psychedelic kind of outro, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which does work as a closer, like it does. But I felt like there was a track missing. I felt like there was something missing between the previous track and that one to finish it.
Do you think, so you were saying something like, so you thinking something to transition lighter or something to go big and go home heavier?
Yes, I would have went heavier.
Right.
I would have went heavier on the penultimate track, and then Comes With the Fall. Yeah, it works as a closer, fine. But I felt like there was a track missing. And the album was only 40 minutes, so I think they could have got away with another 5-minute track, 6-minute track easily. So 40 minutes. Yeah, as I said, it's lean, but I think something with a bit more length.
You're maybe trained, as some of us are, that well, it's the same reason like when we did deathcore reviews 2 years ago. If it was over 45 minutes, my brain checked out because I'd been trained that a deathcore album should be 45 minutes and nothing longer. And you were like, no, 55 minutes were fine. I'm like, 10 minutes too long. As a listener, you get trained that a certain genre should provide a certain length.
Yeah, and Doom tends to be in that kind of
longer. It's a rare occasion that you're doing like a. Oh, let me put it this way: the Acacia Strain released a three song Doom release, and it was fucking 35 minutes long, and that was just 3 songs.
Yeah.
So.
Lastly, the production. Production compared to the previous album is a huge upgrade, like massive. And I'm not throwing any shade at whoever produced the last album, but stick with this guy. Like Jack Endino has knocked it out of the park. Maybe a wee bit more expensive. You know, I know he's worked with like Soundgarden and stuff, but totally worth it.
The label's picking it up.
Yeah, it's on their tab. Like production-wise, very, very organic, but you can also tell it's been done in a high-quality studio. Like the drum tones are just really rich and powerful. The guitars, huge guitars, really thick, warm guitars, and perfect level of distortion as well. Like it doesn't like get too busy. Bass is fantastic. He's nailed the mix of the bass perfectly. It never gets lost in the distortion. And the vocals, I think, are the best they have ever sounded, production-wise as well from GOYA. I think this is a strong album for them. Probably one of their best after listening to their back catalogue. I think we're going to hear more about this band. To be honest, I feel like once this album comes out, it might put this band on a few more radars. It's not perfect. Yeah, there's a couple of little things that I think could be tweaked, but I have the feeling that going forward, as long as they don't leave it another 8 years or whatever, the next one could be another kind of like step up, another upgrade from this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what they do next. Final thing, scores for In the Dawn of November. What beeth your score, Duncan?
My score beeth a 4, which rhymes in a weird way. Like I say, my notwithstanding the fact I think that maybe some riffs play a little bit too long on some tracks, and vocally it becomes less memorable the longer it goes on because of the cadence register. I thought this is like one of the more easier listens that I've had. Granted, it's been given in a week where we've been listening to stuff which has challenged us. This has been a safe place to come back to several times, and I don't dispute that I will more likely come back to this as I need something to just shove on and just groove and get shit done. Sort of album. I will look from afar with great curiosity to see where the band goes. Because my first listen to them, so it's me just experiencing it. If you're telling me this is the high watermark thus far, I'm excited to see where they go next.
I'm gonna agree with that score, Duncan, for the second time tonight. And give
for
this
the
one
first time it's
first time ever. 4 out of 5 for me. Like in comparison to what I've done before, I feel like this is a real step forward for the band. More confidence, better songwriting, better hooks, production is much better. I think there's a couple of wee things they could tweak, but it's easy fixes, really, to be honest, because it's not like they don't have the chops or abilities to actually make those little tweaks. It's not without the reach for sure. Vocally especially, the guy's got a killer range, so I know that he's definitely got it in him. 4 out of 5 for me as well. Check this one out. Like if you love Doom stuff, then like this is a no-brainer. Like, and it's got like killer riffs on it. Really good production qualities as well. I'll put all the links so you can check the band out, the pre-order and stuff. It comes out on June the 13th on Blues Funeral Recordings. GOYA in the dawn of November. In the name of the wee man, what am I talking about? In the dawn of November. This is
we're re-recording this entire all 26 minutes it. Go back, can we cut?
That is the review. It's not getting re-recorded. Thank you for listening. We'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
We worship dollar bills while the glaciers melt.